Yeah! Oh boy! This is our house!
Every year, finals, every year. Let's go!
MVP! MVP! MVP!
Got his head in his hand.
This game feels a lot more like the game at the pit. They're trying to play way too fast. The Lobos are the fastest paced team in the country. We need to slow it down.
Washington, where we find the 5 seed.
It's always interesting, and it's about matchups and who's playing well. So there are no upsets in the tournament. The hot hand wins in this thing.
The Aztecs headed into familiar territory in Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament, but in an unfamiliar position. It was a crazy weekend in the desert, guys. It packed a little bit of everything and saw the number 5 seed Aztecs defeat UNLV and Utah State before falling to the hated New Mexico Lobos. But not all is lost. Brian Dutcher's team landed a 5 seed in the Eastern bracket and now must face Alabama Birmingham, I believe, this Friday, 10:45 a.m. on TNT. Welcome everybody to the Sons of Montezuma podcast. You guys know what to do. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before we get into all the craziness that went down in Las Vegas. Thank you guys for joining. You can find me at Mateo San Diego down there on Twitter, and of course at Sons of Monty on Twitter, Instagram, Sons of Montezuma, Facebook, anywhere you can find us on social media. We appreciate you guys making the time and joining us on this crazy night. Talk about crazy weekend. It's 2024, man. I don't know what's going on outside, but before we get into all that, I gotta welcome my esteemed colleagues here. And we are talking about none other than, well, everybody loves him for some reason. We're still trying to find that out. You cannot stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Coming off of a fresh birthday this weekend in Las Vegas. What's up, Fiend? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It was a fun time hanging out with you guys in Vegas. It's always good to see 3 games in 3 days, and wish we had brought home the trophy, but that's all right. We're dancing, so that's what I'm looking at.
We are dancing. Feels good to be dancing regardless of everything we'll get into. And he went from East County to East Tahoe. He's got his I Believe hoodie on, looking pretty snazzy in there. You can get that in the Sons of Montezuma shop right now.
Michael Tortolot.
Michael Tortolot. The voice of Andy. We gotta show Andy some love. Aztec Andy, he's at home, not feeling too well after our Vegas trip together. Mike, send some good vibes out to Aztec Andy, man. Send some good vibes.
Andy, feel better. Vegas got him. Vegas got Andy. So it's going to happen eventually. So, hey, it was a fun trip, man. It was great. it was a good trip, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good basketball and stuff. So it was a great trip.
Vegas got him. Well, Vegas got quite a few people this weekend. And in the end, unfortunately, it got us too. Like I said, we were in familiar territory. Us Aztec Nation, we love to boast that the Thomas and Mack is like our vacation home, and it started to really feel that way. As you guys saw the video, I mean, everybody's going crazy. We took down 2 higher seeds in front of us, UNLV and Utah State. So came to a screeching halt, but it's okay. Guys, we want to thank you guys for joining. I know, if you look out in the sky, some of you are probably out there still looking, unless the sun has gone down and it's not visible. Mike, I don't know if you can see it all the way up there in your area. I'd highly doubt it.
No, that's a long ways away.
Yeah, you're way out there. You're way out there. So right off the bat, because that's the topic of the moment. I had my buddy Scott. Thank you for chiming in a little bit, and of course Fembone. I reached out to both of them earlier. Like, what is going on in the sky? What are we seeing? And Sarah says SpaceX Falcon 9 launch from Vandenberg. Is that what you were saying, Fiend, before we went live?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I looked up. It looked like the Cheech and Chong sky, and I had no idea what it was. But yeah, I guess it was Elon Musk at it again. So very cool.
Did anybody get any warning that this was going to happen? Is this what we should have expected to see in the sky, or was this something that went wrong? I don't know if any of you guys know.
They said it was going to launch tonight. He probably did it in celebration of trolling Don Lemon on his Twitter. That's probably
Is that
was wild. That was wild. You got to check that out. That's incredible. But yeah, no, it was on Spaceflight Now and live. They have the YouTube and stuff like that, so it was known.
All right. Well, thank you, Fembone. Thank you, Scott. Mr. Scott. Miss you, boy. Miss you. Let's get together soon. Sarah nailed it. Elon putting some Starlinks up. I don't know anything about that. We're not going to have a podcast about that because I wouldn't know a thing, but that sounds like a good one. Okay, guys. Where do we dig in? Where do we begin? UNLV, we took them down. I kind of want to just rush through the Mountain West tournament. It was a crazy tournament. We all know this year was hyper competitive. I mean, when San Diego State generally makes the tournament championship, we came in as a 5th seed, or what were we? Were we a 5th or a 6th? We were a 5th, and UNLV was the 4th. Like, that never happens. UNLV never ascends that high in the last decades or so. So, I mean, if you guys had to chop up that UNLV game to one phrase, what would that game have? How do you summarize that game in essence? Mike, you got one? How did you summarize that UNLV game?
Dude, I almost cried. That was like the most satisfying win because I told you guys after that I didn't cry, but I was I was exhausted. We were down, we were up, we were down, we were up, and I thought we were going to lose at the end with being down 4 in overtime and then coming back. That to me was the most satisfying win of the year so far, quite frankly. Just because the adversity they had to go through and just the ups and downs and where that was another road game, right? So they finally got over the hump on that one. And it was exhausting, man. Like, I think, is that when you guys did no, you didn't do the podcast afterwards, did you?
No, we tried.
Okay.
I gotta apologize to everybody because we did try to put some content out there, live streams, all that good stuff. It's a little tricky out there at the tournament trying to get it done. I didn't want to record in some places, and the places I wanted to record, it got a little tricky there in the arena. We tried.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And I think Magnus texted me. He's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm at the bar partying, dude. Where are you?" He's like, "Your guys are gonna go do live stream." I'm like, say hi to him for me because you guys know me after the games. I'm out, dude. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Because it gets too crazy. So, but that was a great win, dude. That was a great win.
Fiend, you got a phrase that can summarize that UNLV game?
Yeah, escape in the vacation home. We just escaped that game. I mean, we were up, and De'Don Thomas, man, what a freshman. I mean, that guy single-handedly almost won that game for them. I mean, hit that big shot in regulation, at the end of the game, and then put it in overtime. Has that last second three. How did he get that wide open for that three that bounced off the front of the rim? I mean, he was just doing everything for UNLV and just put them on his back. Amazing for a true freshman to be doing that. Obviously him and JT Toppin are the stars of the freshman class in the Mountain West, and we escaped, but we again proved it is the vacation home because we got the win.
Absolutely. They're I don't know why there's such a tricky matchup. I don't know if it's just the physicality that they bring. As you see Jay hitting that pretty much that game-winning shot. I mean, it was such a nice little baby hook there off the glass. And once he hit that, you knew it was pretty much a wrap. And man, Deedon, I mean, he's special. He almost made that shot. You're right. I don't know how he got his hands on there. I mean, he shouldn't have been in that position to get that good of a look off. But yay, we went crazy. You just wiped the sweat from your brow. You survive in advance. And what UNLV? They're in the NIT, right? Is that kind of the collateral damage for them?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta start somewhere after being out of a tournament for 10 years, So might as well start in the NIT and see if they can move up next year to the NCAAs. I mean, I know that they're a proud program. They don't want to hear that, but they've had a decade of futility now. That any type of postseason is going to be, a boost for them if they can make a run in the NIT. That'd be good for them, and hopefully they get that Deedon Thomas back. I mean, he's gonna be real trouble in the Mountain West. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's considered for Mountain West Player of the Year next year if he comes back. Preseason awards. We really kind of lucked out in this tournament too, because some of their top talent on these teams were injured. You had, I think, 3 games in a row, right, where we had Caleb Boone. He was hobbled by an injury. He hardly played at all. And then you had Falslev, I think, in the Utah State game, right? And then Dent was sick. He got whatever Andy got. Maybe he gave it to Andy. I don't know, but he was sick and he hardly played at all for New Mexico. So we didn't really face any of these teams at their full strength. I want to point that out. They had some injuries and they were down some players.
Easy, Fiend. Easy. Don't ruin our image of this tournament. No, it's true. It is true though. 74-71 in overtime. UNLV took us to overtime. Jane Ledee, 34 points that first night, 16 boards, just a monster first game. And yeah, can we give I think I'll give a little hand clap to UNLV. NIT guys. Good job. Okay, cut that. All right, moving on. The next game, guys, Utah State. Now, this was a game Fiend. He was excited about, and I was excited about it too. I thought getting that side of the bracket was beneficial for us. We came into the season, lost those 2 to end the year, and it's like, okay, we got to play the number 1 team, Utah State, if we advance past UNLV. And I felt pretty good about that. We split with them in the regular season, and those start times, those tip-off times, I felt really good about. You didn't have to play at 9 o'clock on, if you advanced on that Friday, you have to wake up early and not get a lot of recovery time. So heading into Utah State, guys, this tournament, the theme was fall down, get behind by double digits every single game. We were down by, what was it, 17 to Utah State at one point. I mean, it was not happening. Jaden Ledee gets in early foul trouble. He played maybe the first 4.5 minutes, if that, and automatically I'm looking at you guys like, this is not good. This is not good. A number 1 seed. Yeah, we're 5, but I mean, this team is not that much better than us. Fiend, this was something you love to beat Utah State? They're your arch nemesis. Any summary on this game?
Well, if I had to put a headline on it, it'd be, will the real MVP please stand up? Please stand up. Where was Great Usabor in the second half? He completely disappeared and was nowhere to be found. We dropped 50 on him in the second half. I know we got off to another slow start again, which has been a real problem really since we made that lineup change, about a month ago. Seems like we're just every single game. It's a slow start. But Jaden Ledee in the second half, and some of our other Sons of Monty guys. I mean, got to give some props to Parrish and to Waters. I mean, they had a couple of really good games. It seemed like Parrish plays his best when he's pissed off, right? Like I think he got a goose egg against UNLV, and then someone tweeted at him, tagged him in a tweet and said, cut Parrish by the end of the UNLV game or whatever. And so then he retweets it, and then he comes out and he plays one of his best games in like the last 5-10 games, So, I mean, I was serious, man, when we need to get a rumor out there for the New Mexico game just to piss him off so that we could, get his best game. It seems like he gives us his best when he's pissed. So maybe we need to do that more. I don't know.
He's got that dog. That dog, you get him angry. Mike, any thoughts on this Utah State game? I know you had something nice to tell the crowd on that video.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, let's give props to Miles Heide, because that 8 or 10 minute stretch that he played in the first half, if he didn't play the way he did and we were down by 17, it could have got real bad real quick. So he played great to kind of keep us in there and kind of steady the ship, and then until the guys came back. The fight I saw out of Reese Waters was incredible. I love that. I mean, he looked like that's the guy I want to see every game. You know what I mean? That is the dude I want to see every game because he's got it in him. I loved it. But, to end the game on a 69-36 run is pretty incredible, man. Being down 34-17 and finishing a 69-36 run. And you beat a team by, what did we beat them by, 16? Yeah, you don't typically beat rivals twice in 1 year by double digits, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what did we beat them in the first game? 15, something like that. So that's, I think Fiend has a rivalry with their fans. He doesn't care for their fans. I don't think it's the players. And I think I've been thinking about that. And we might have to do a spreadsheet presentation about that at some point.
No, I think it's all-encompassing fans and players. I mean, that to me, Mike, was the most satisfying win for me. I mean, it was great. Oh, it was wonderful watching that Dairy Queen line at the Thomas and Mack just fill up with all those pissed off Utah State fans after the game. I mean, I was loving it. They weren't hitting the bar; they were over at Dairy Queen, crying their eyes out, getting a blizzard to try to make themselves feel better, and I was so happy.
What? There's Dairy Queen there?
Yeah, that's where all the Utah State fans went after the game.
I didn't see it.
Hey, you gotta do something to cope. Gotta do something to cope. 86-70. It was a rout by the end of it, and we were celebrating. But boy, oh boy, I know all the Lobos watching on your laptops right now, sitting at home with your feet up, watching the screen because they love Sons of Montezuma Crew, man. They love us. They actually do, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it. The whole state of New Mexico right now is tuned in, and well, not that many numbers out there, so I can understand it. But much respect. I made sure to dap people up, give them some knuckles, as many as I could. And they were celebrating the moment. The Lobos took down the Aztecs 68-61. It was a wild game. Another game that we kind of fell into our same pattern, our same cycle. Fall behind early, put on a charge to close out the first half. And then in the second half, you take the lead. And that's exactly what happened again this time. But of course, down the stretch, you got to just say it. Mr. House, he turned that arena into his house down the stretch. And they came out hot. I mean, Mashburn, he set the tone, came out, he hit some perimeter shots, hit a couple threes. He was feeling himself. This Lobos team was definitely feeling themselves. It was the fourth game in 4 days. I thought their legs would be gassed. I thought they would have faltered in the second half completely, and it looked like that was going to be the case. It was like the opportunities the Aztecs had to stretch that lead and kind of run away with it, they just couldn't put that stretch together to really push ahead. Fiend, let's hear it from you, man. Let's hear it from you. How do you summarize this championship game against the Lobos, which you saw Mr. House there slapping the arm, slapping the muscle?
Well, I want to start by saying that I've shown New Mexico a lot of respect this year. Okay, I've had tremendous amount of respect for them, to the point where Mike has called me Lobo Boy on the podcast here. But it pains me to give this headline, but it's just so true, and I have to speak the truth on here. So, titles are for closers.
Okay.
We did not close out that game. We had opportunity. It was right there. But New Mexico, they were the closers. They were able to close out that game and seal that victory. And that's been a recurring theme for us, is that, no lead is safe with us. And, last 5 minutes of the game, it used to be that if we had the lead, we would win the game. You were pretty sure that we were going to win the game. That's not the case anymore. And I don't know what that is, if that's nerves, if that's just guys just, kind of folding in the moment, losing focus. I don't know. But they closed the game on a huge stretch. We went dry and we couldn't get any rebounds. And that was the difference in the game. That's why we lost the championship and New Mexico won it.
Mike, you got any other perspectives on what the difference of the championship game was?
I mean, first of all, to win 4 games in 4 days is impressive. I don't care who you are. Yeah. I mean, so that's something to behold. And we saw, we unfortunately saw the Jalen House show again. And there was a lot of Lobos fans there, man. It was definitely 50-50 from what I saw, so he played fantastic. I mean, so he is what he is, right? And Jamal Mashburn, the 4 of their guys had like almost 95% of their points. And, I think it's just, we didn't get rebounds at the end of the game, dude. Like, if you don't get rebounds and the time is clicking down, you don't get as many shots. So if they get 2 for 1, all of a sudden it's 8 of their shots for 4. We have to make all 4 of those, and they only have to make half of theirs to keep up with them. So it was just rebounding at the end. Toppin had some great rebounds, and they went on a 12-4 run to end the game. And that was part of it. I think was mostly rebounding. Like, Dutch has defensive rebounding win championships, and we just didn't rebound to end the game. And I think a lot of those losses, Nevada, Boise State, I think most, if not all, of our losses on the road that we lost by 1 or 2 points or 2 possessions is because we didn't get rebounds at the end of the game.
Yep, agreed.
But you know what? We got a 5 seed. We have to play UAB. Right? Like, besides, that tournament was great. It was a fantastic tournament. I mean, the games were awesome. You know what I mean? Even though we didn't beat New Mexico, we got 6 teams in. We'll talk about the seeding. I was on the plane back with the Mountain West commissioner. She lives up here, so I was talking to her. She's a really nice lady. We were just talking about it and stuff like that. So she was hopeful to get 6 and thought she got her wish. But it's just such a great event, dude. You know what I mean? What are you laughing at, bro? Yeah. What are you laughing at, Feed?
I'm laughing because she's so hopeful to get 6, but we're never getting 6 again because of the extra 2 games that she added to our conference schedule, like a dumbass. So
don't be so negative, bro. Worry about that next year. Let's just enjoy what we have here. She was hopeful to get 6. We got 6. We obviously saw that if New Mexico didn't win, they wouldn't have been in. So we got 6 teams in, and all you have to do is start winning.
Yeah. Well, we heard it from Coach Dutcher at the end of the opening video that the hottest team in the tournament wins. I mean, if you're coming in hot, if you carry that on, the hottest team, whatever paper metrics, whatever, I look at this New Mexico team, and I know a lot of you all are watching, Lobo fans, and thank you. I look at this New Mexico team, and they're pretty complete. I think Fiend was the only one, and I know they love you. In the beginning of the year, we did our conference preview. and you were the only one that had New Mexico possibly 1 seed winning the thing or competing for it. And I look at that team; they're pretty complete, man. I mean, the outstanding guard play. We won't deny that in the chat. Absolutely, won't deny that outstanding guard play. I mean, when you look at Mashburn with 21, House with 28, I mean, you can't really defend that. You can't really say much about that. And I don't want to dwell on that game in particular. It is what it is. You know, they want it. You know, yeah, absolutely. They love the Fiend. They love him. You see it. We felt it. And they're hot. They're hot right now. 4 games. But there is something to be said for your out of conference. You know, people are complaining, well, if San Diego State didn't win the thing, how are they getting the 5 seed? And they've proven it in other areas. You know, the matchups may have not been exactly what they should have been for us this year, but you know, that 5 seed, man, we're going to take that. And we're going to run with that as far as we can. We'll get into bracket talk in just a little bit. You know, Mike, you did say the Mountain West tournament was an amazing spectacle. He likes to call it my Comic-Con. I think it is. Like, I geek out on this thing, and we had such a great time. A big thank you to everybody who stopped and said hello, you know, would stop us in our tracks or out and about on the concourses, even out all over town in Las Vegas, getting meals and stopping to take a picture and just to encourage us and give us a little boost. If you guys are watching, we really, really appreciate it. Just had a great time. So, hey, we lost to New Mexico in the championship. I would rather lose to New Mexico than lose to Utah State or Boise State or another program that has no pedigree, has no history, has no real value in the tournament like a New Mexico. I respect those guys. You know, I hate losing to them, but I respect them absolutely. They're knowledgeable fans, and for the most part, the fans were a little more classier than their star player. You know, he's fun to watch. I would never want House on my team. I'm sorry, guys. I wouldn't want him on my team. He's a fantastic player, awesome player. But I'm glad the fans there are a little more classier. Yeah. Fiend, you got anything to add with all this Lobo love? I saw you got to meet some of their fans out there in the concourses.
Yeah, I got to meet super fan Lobo Gabe, who I've texted with on Twitter, DM'd with, and so it's good to meet some of their fans, and he's certainly one of them, and I have tremendous amount of respect for their team, their fan base. I met some great fans, great family, like 3 generations of fans in the hotel that I was staying at, and then Mike came down and pissed him off and insulted him. This great conversation going about like the Final Four and both of our programs, and then Mike goes, he says to him, "Hey, I hear the meth is really good there," and they were just totally like their jaws just dropped.
And then I left. I said, "All right, see you later."
I said, dude, I build bridges and you burn them down.
Terrible. Just absolutely juvenile, you two. I mean, God,
to be fair, he started
it. Is that what we do from the Sons of Mana? Is this how you guys are representing the brand, the Sons of Mana?
No, it's Vegas. It doesn't count. It's almost as good as having tacos with that guy I met in the bathroom.
What are we talking about? Tacos with the guy you met? What?
Okay, so let's tell you the story because stay with me. It's a little intense. So last year I met the couple of the guys, Eli and Alex and them, right?
Yeah.
And so we were hanging out, and then when I was down for the Fresno and whoever the other first game we played in the conference was, I saw this guy. I thought it was Eli. And I was like, "Hey, man!" And we kind of looked at each other, and it was in the bathroom at VAS, and I said, "Hey, are you Eli?" He's like, "No, man." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I saw him again the next game in the bathroom. I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Hey, dude." So this year we go to the conference, so we're going over from the game to the bar, and I see him. I'm like, "What's up, bathroom buddy?" And he's like, "What's up, dude?" And we start talking. I go, "Yeah, the guy I thought you were was who I was with earlier." And, we started talking. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to go over here and see you later, blah, blah, blah." And then I see him Friday night after the game. We're walking back with Eli, the guy who I thought he was. back to the bar, and we walk in and we're sitting there, and who shows up? The other guy that I thought he was, and then they end up knowing each other, which is the funniest thing. You know, it's kind of dorky, but you know, whatever. I'm 45, so you got like you got the guy who I thought he was, and the guy who wasn't, and then they end up knowing each other, and we took a picture of it. I don't know if you have the picture of it, and then we went out and got tacos afterwards. So it was like, that's just like, to me, that encapsulates the Mountain West tournament, because you see people in Viejas you don't necessarily talk to or hang out with. You just, you know, you see them, but then you come to Vegas and there's that extra connection being in, you know, you go by wherever and you see people with San Diego State, hey, go State, you know what I mean? And they would do that. But I thought that was a funny story, dude. I couldn't stop talking about it. I thought it was just, to me, it was so crazy that they ended up knowing each other. They knew each other. You know what I mean? That was the wildest part. And then I got mistaken for one of the other guys later the next day. So it kind of came full circle.
That's kind of how the Sons of Monty crew kind of began, to be honest with you. I met Eli, a bunch of the guys out in Michigan road trip, and it's just Aztec Nation doing the magic that we do, man.
It was fun, man. It was fun. It was such a great week.
Oh boy. Well, we had a blast either way. You know, we survived, and we're gonna keep dancing. We got the 5 seed, regardless of the championship. We got the 5 seed, and we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it as far as we can go. So let you guys know the super chats are on. Any of you guys got questions, comments, concerns that you want us to specifically address and go in detail to, definitely send us a super chat, however you want to say it. Thank you, Angelica, for starting the chat off with your generosity. We really appreciate it. Obviously, Sons of Montezuma, this is the end of our 2.5 season of covering basketball for San Diego State and doing what we do. So we've just been growing and hoping to keep this thing going. So let us know in the super chat. Okay, all right. Anything else, guys? But we need to talk about as far as the Mountain West tournament goes before we move forward into the big dance that we got our ticket to.
Well, let's go.
Okay, all right. No more meth stories. No more no more bathroom stories.
I mean, I think they were sharing like a cake. I think did you guys order a cake? You were sharing it when you guys were talking to the New Mexico fan speed? Am I imagining that?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, you were totally imagining that.
Oh,
No, we were having a great conversation, and it was real friendly, and then you just showed up and like just completely ruined the mood.
Oh boy.
But it's all good.
I you know, to be honest with you, I tend to have it, dude. I met Dutch. I was walking into the airport, and I just turned around. He's just sitting at the PGA Tour grill, just having a dinner with his wife, and I said hello, and I thanked him, obviously, and I met him, and I think I probably hung around about 10 seconds too long, and it got a little awkward, and I was like, all right, good luck in the NCAA tournament, see you later. So I have a habit of making conversations uncomfortable, apparently.
He was waiting for some of your advice, a little pointer.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, I should have asked him about sandwiches. I blew it, man. I should have asked him about sandwiches. It was so strange to me just to see, not strange, but just to walk, and he's just sitting, just hanging out, and he looked like he was having a great time seeing all the fans by and people saying, "Hey, good coach," and I just like he just really enjoys the interaction. I think, man, you know what I mean? Like he was very. It was cool to see.
That's our coach, and Dutch we still trust. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's move forward. Right, let's move forward because it's gonna get here very soon. We obviously got the number 5 seed. We're gonna be playing this Friday at 10:45 a.m. It's gonna be on TNT Radio AM 760 locally for all you guys that like to listen to Uncle Teddy. Guys, what do we think about this bracket? Because as soon as I got home, flew in on Sunday morning, got home, rested up, and I was ready to tune in. And San Diego State got called very early. It was the first bracket that they announced. I was not expecting that. Usually it takes forever for us to kind of get down the list. But when you got a 5 seed, we're in the East bracket, as everybody knows by now, but it's played in Spokane. I don't know how that works specifically. I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully we'll get some of those answers later on this week and provide a lot of coverage leading up in this week. But what do we think about this bracket? I'm not a fan. It's obviously it's a really tough bracket. It's a really tough bracket in my eyes. I mean, anytime you got UConn right there, just looming, the number one of the number one seeds, defending champion, you always want to look ahead, right? Okay, if we win this one, if we win this one, I know, Mike, we got to just think about UAB. Just think about UAB, one game at a time. But UAB, if we can get by them, the storyline of storylines has got Auburn waiting in the wings. If they can advance, I mean, what a storyline that is with Chad Baker Mazzara. And then obviously, I think the likely opponent, if we can make ourselves that high to a Sweet 16, is going to be UConn. So, Fiend, any immediate thoughts on this bracket, or I mean, just man, what do you think? This thing is. I don't like the fact that they're no longer a repeat Final Four teams. They're trying to eliminate all the Final Four teams from last year. I think that stinks.
Yeah, it's a brutal bracket. It is. It really is brutal. I feel like it's a harder road to the Final Four for San Diego State this year than it was last year. Last year, I thought we had a legitimate shot if we could get past Alabama. This road, if the top seeds all advance, we would be facing in 3 consecutive rounds teams that won their conference tournament and teams that are playing the best at the peak time of the season when you need to be playing your best. So UAB obviously won the tournament with the American Athletic Conference. That's how they were able to get in the tournament. I like that matchup. I think that's a very winnable game. We should win that game. We're favored by 6.5 points. I mean, they what KenPom, I think they're in the hundreds. That we should win that game. But then you look at Auburn as a 4 seed that won the SEC, and the FCC's got some pretty damn good teams with teams like Tennessee and Kentucky. Florida's in the tournament. They're a good team, and I would argue that Auburn is playing more like a 2 seed than a 4 seed. So I think they're a little underseeded, and so getting them in the second round, that's a tough matchup for us. And so then if you are able to get by Auburn, then you get defending national champions UConn, who we lost to last year. Not only are you getting them, but you're also getting them in Boston, which is virtually a road game for the Aztecs because everyone in New England is going to show up and cheer for UConn. So very, very tough road for us. Yeah, I don't like the draw at all, but hey, those are the breaks. Sometimes you get good matchups, sometimes you don't in the tournament.
Yeah, last year you got to have some luck, right? And I think what was it, Virginia going down in that first round against Furman, that opened that hurdle that we didn't have to go up against. But of course, hey, you got to earn it in the tournament. What happens. Furman was a formidable opponent, and that's what happened in this bracket. I don't see anything like that happening again. I just don't see it. I want to thank right off the bat Quinn Thomas. I'm an Auburn fan. He's watching. Just saw y'all come up with my recommend. Since you all are a possible matchup, figured I would tune in. Thank you very much, Quinn. You guys do have a very well-rounded team. We know one player in particular, CBM. We're gonna get to that potential storyline in just a minute. But Fiend, I want to go back to T-Mac's point here. He says Ledee is incredible because he plays about half the game and still outscores everyone. Now, when it comes to UAB, guys, I don't think we can afford for that to happen again. I don't think we can. Ledee, in the tournament, these are all teams that know each other very well, very familiar with each other's game. And that's kind of what I don't know how do you say. I was disappointed with the refereeing in some of the ticky-tack calls that they were still continuing to let slide or call on Ledee or not call in Ledee's favor. That was a little frustrating for sure. But when it comes to the big tournament now, I mean, these are teams you got to prepare for on the fly. I know we got a couple days here now. Thank God we're playing on a Friday, so you got that extra day to prepare. But when it comes to UAB, everything I've heard is that they love to run zones. Listening to Coach Dutcher, He says that they love to mix up defensive schemes, so they don't just stick to one zone. They'll run multiple zones. Man, they'll switch on screens. They'll do a whole myriad of different things defensively. And one of the things coach said is that, when a defense plays zone against us, that limits Ledie's touches. So I don't think we're going to afford for him to get in foul trouble again, because they're already going to be trying to limit his touches, with their defensive schemes and philosophies and whatnot. And Dutcher did also say that nobody in the Mountain West really does that. They either have like one or two main defenses that they play. They don't mix it up as much as UAB. And that's going to be something new, something different. Fiend, you got anything on that as far as just maybe the little bit of the data you've seen as far as UAB and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, metrically, they're not a really good defensive team. They're more known for their offense.
Mhm.
So, we're going to have to, play defense very well to limit, the scoring. And then we're going to have to, score points against their different defensive looks that they give us. I mean, as far as like changing up from like man to zone, hey, we saw it in the Boise game, right? When we were rolling, and then they hit us with a 1-3-1 zone, and it was like our guys were like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
We didn't know. It's almost like it took them a little bit of time to recognize, the switch in the defense. Oh, okay, now, this is a 1-3-1. Okay, now this is what I got to do. But it froze us, for a little bit, for a couple of possessions before we could kind of get into a rhythm again. And so if they're switching up their defenses, I could see how that could be a real problem for us if we're not diagnosing it quickly, and then reacting the way we should. And I think with the zone, I mean, obviously we're going to have to hit shots from the outside, and we have not been doing that very well. We're not a good 3-point shooting team. We're one of the worst in the country at 3-point shooting. That's just a fact. It's, our statistics. But there will be holes in that zone, and I think there'll be opportunities for guys like Powell to get offensive rebounds and to, slip to the basket and, get a pass. And I think there'll be some opportunities to get some points within that zone. But and we've seen some zone this season, so it's not like we're just going into it blind. We have some experience. I hope this entire week they're working a lot on like 1-3-1 and 2-3 zones, just so we can get better accustomed to playing, against it, because we do see a lot of man in the Mountain West. But yeah, they're I mean, as far as UAB, they're a good team. They have a guy named Yaxel Lendeborg. He's like a real tall 6'9". He played at he's one of their best scorers and rebounders. Yaxel Lendeborg. He played for Arizona Western Community College. So I know he was on our radar in the portal last year, and he was a guy that I saw in the portal, and I thought, man, this guy would be a great Aztec, but he wound up signing with UAB, and he's just a great player for them. And so he does everything. I mean, he's kind of like Ledie, like their version of Ledie. He's able to, get points, at the rim, step out, hit threes, gets rebounds. I mean, he's not the All-American that Ledie is, but he's a very good player. And so, yeah, they got some players that are good on that team, definitely.
What kind of name is Yaxel? Yaxel. What in the world? Okay, Arizona Western from New Jersey, 6'9", junior. Okay. If anybody's got any intel, more intel on Yaxel Lendeborg. What a name, Mike. What do you think about this opponent, Mike? UAB. I mean, I hear what Fiend is saying. He's giving us some good tidbits as always. But I don't know much about UAB. They come from the American Conference, and what was it? FAU. That's FAU's conference. So they're the only two teams, I believe, from that conference. I heard a lot of people giving them some flack, like, why are they even in the tournament? They shouldn't have made the tournament. FAU. Some people would argue that FAU shouldn't have even made the tournament. I mean, I don't know how that would necessarily work, but this is another opponent. I don't know much about him, and I don't think our team does really either. The coach says he knows their coach, but man, I'm feeling not 100% confident, and that's just because, like what T-Mac was saying, Yeah, Ladie, he won't play half the game, but he'll still lead us in scoring. That's probably not a good thing. That's probably not a good thing. And Quinn, we'll get to you in a little bit as far as Auburn goes, but that's probably not a good thing. That's a good indication of how this team goes offensively. If Ladie's not hitting, if he's not getting touches, our offensive production goes way, way down. How you feeling, man?
I mean, first of all, I'm not even going to watch the game. I'll be at Disneyland with my little girl, so sucks, but whatever. Got to take care of my little girl. That's the first time going.
What did Rothstein tweet out there the other day? He's like, if you booked a family vacation, pray for that.
Guarantee you, John Rothstein doesn't have kids. So and it's spring break week, dude. You got to go on spring break week. So whatever, dude. But I know that UAB's good, man. They were in the NIT final last year. So I mean, they got a good program. The coach came from Ole Miss. They've won like 22 plus each of the last 4 seasons. This is all plagiarizing from Ziegler's article, by the way.
Right.
202nd in defensive Ken Palm, and they don't shoot the 3 very well. So I mean, if we can, but they do get good offensive boards. That's the thing that scares me. They're very, very good offensive rebounding team. So any team can get hot right now. We've seen what happens. We've seen all this stuff. You know what I mean? Obviously, everybody's trying to pick us as the upset of the 5-12, like every year. But if we don't play good basketball, we're not going to win, dude. It's as simple as that. If guys aren't making shots and we don't play good basketball and we get out rebounded, we're going home. It's every year. It's the same story every year. So there's nothing that's changed from last year to this year. If you don't play good basketball right now and they're playing good basketball, I think we're playing good basketball too. You're going to go home, dude. I mean, we saw 13 beat a 4, a 12 beat a 5, 16 beat a 1. So anything can happen if you're playing well and you're playing hot and you're playing confident. I think that's why if I were to pick a team that from our conference that's probably going to go far, it's probably going to be New Mexico because their guard play.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be New Mexico.
Well, the matchups too. The matchups too.
Yeah, but
guard
we can't.
Matchups.
But it's always about matchups. But your guard play can hinder some of those matchups we saw against us, where you had the 2 guards and you're trying to go out and worry about them, and then Toppin would slip in behind them and get the rebound or the pass, right? So they present a problem. And if they have those 3 guards that they're playing well, if Dente feels better, hopefully he does, they're going to be a problem, dude. But for us, we better play a good game or we're going to go home.
Yeah, I mean, New Mexico is also they're playing their best basketball of the season right now, and that's what you need to be doing. I mean, if you look at like their last 5 games, and you adjust it for like competition, I mean, and you look at the higher seeds in their bracket, like they're better than Clemson, like way better than Clemson. They're better than Baylor. They're even better than Arizona, and they're slightly worse than North Carolina. If you can knock off those 4, you're going to a Final Four. Probably if it's a chalk tournament, and the seeds fall where they should. I mean, so I really think out of all the teams in the Mountain West, I think New Mexico probably has the best, opportunity to make a Final Four. I think our road's a lot harder. And the other thing is, I don't think we're playing our best basketball right now. Honestly, I think we played our best basketball earlier in the season when we had a different lineup. I think these slow starts are, the product of the new lineup that we changed to. What was it, around the Utah State game at home or something like that? It just seems like every single game we get off to these slow starts that we have to overcome. We were playing much better, I think, beginning of the season when we had, that different lineup. So that's what concerns me, is getting in a hole. And the starting lineup that we have put out there in this tournament played 51, I think like 51 of like the 125 minutes. So don't give me that argument that starting doesn't matter, because it does. And starters get a lot of minutes. And so it's not my favorite lineup that we're throwing out there. It's not the most productive lineup when you look at the metrics. But who knows? Maybe these guys can put it together finally. I don't know.
Should we look at the entire bracket, guys? You guys want to do that at some point? Like, just look at the whole thing, or maybe save that for another day this week. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see. We'll see. I know Quinn Thomas. Thank you again for your super. I don't want to completely ignore you as an Auburn fan. But I hope some of the things that we are saying is kind of giving you as a fan a little indication on who we are as a team, who this Aztecs team is. I think we are playing good ball right now, Mike. I know you kind of threw that question up in the air. I think we are playing good ball, right? I mean, to beat a Utah State #1 seed, to beat UNLV, who's a tricky wild card team that we all said in the beginning of the year. At this point, I think we are playing some good ball. I think just it's tough to put your finger on it because all year we're playing good ball, but I don't think we've played our best ball at all this year. And it doesn't feel like we're necessarily close to playing at our full potential. I think we're playing good enough. It just doesn't seem like we've really opened. We know what these guys can do. We know what this team is capable of. What a Reese Waters has shown he's capable of this season early on in the year. We know what kind of player Micah Parrish can be, and Darian, of course, his start last season and then his run in the tournament really showed his capabilities. But it doesn't seem like this team has been able to put it all together at the highest potential that they have. And that's just a collective thing, I believe. When Jaden's not hitting, when he's not getting the touches, it's been tough to manufacture points. The defense has always been there. But that's just kind of my 2 cents, my analysis on this team. They do need to get some favorable calls, I believe, to kind of ignite some things. If Ladie gets foul trouble, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. We are spoiled as fans. Okay, T Mac, I see you. I see you. Let's get you up here. Thank you again for the super. Can we talk about the positive aspects of the team? Most D1 programs don't experience a defense like SDSU. I still have faith. I hear negatives. Yeah, I think that's true. That's facts. We are spoiled. We are spoiled. He followed that up with the "we are spoiled" fans. I'll admit it. I am absolutely a spoiled fan. I want to win. Getting that taste last year of the national championship, boy, you opened up something, Coach Dutcher. You opened up something in this Aztec fan base that, unfortunately, there's no real going back. And in a way, that's a great thing. You want the fan base to be fired up. You want them to be, in a way, a little spoiled because you want it all. You want it all. You want to win every game. You want to hang more banners. You want to be in the Final Four again. So that little spoiled attitude. I mean, what do we say about all the winning teams, all the blue bloods? We say they're spoiled. We say they're spoiled. We love to hate on these blue blood fan bases and their teams like a KU or a Duke. We love to hate these guys because they act spoiled. But I mean, boy, I want to be that. I want to be that spoiled. I want to be spoiled rotten. All right. Am I talking too loud? Am I talking too much, guys?
No, I agree. Like we're arguing about single digit seats now. Like I tweeted, we're not arguing about are we in, are we there?
Yeah.
We're arguing about single digit seats, and I think the 5 is. I think we are a 5. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. We have Nevada and I mean Boise. I think got a little. I think I got railroaded there, but like I would tell people up here in Nevada, I'm like, you lost the first round, you're a 10 seed, dude. No, we're a 7. I'm like, let's just see what happens in the selection thing or in the tournaments and stuff like that. Obviously, we've seen there's an East Coast bias. There's always a bias against Mountain West, and I think until we start winning games outside of us as of last year, that's going to continue to happen. We could be really good in the conference. This is the first year we've been really, really good in the last couple of years, right? I mean, in that depth of that many teams. So back east is back east. We saw with the polls, where Gonzaga continued to go up after we beat them and we weren't in the polls. So it's just one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, win a basketball game. Who gives a shit about the seeding? Like your seeding is your seeding. You're going to have to go through some of the best teams in the country. There's less than 20% of the teams in the country that make the NCAA tournament. So I don't care if you have a tough bracket, an easy bracket. You got to go play these teams, and they got to play you. So it is what it is, man. You're in the all you have. You can't win it until you're in it. And now these teams are in it. We saw what happened last year with us. So like like I see all this stuff about the seeds. Who cares, dude? You're in the tournament. Play your game. And if you play your game and you beat the other team in front of you, it doesn't matter what seed they are. You're going to continue. You're going to survive and advance. So stop complaining about what your seed is. You're in, dude. You're in. That's all you want is an opportunity.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's like the 1920 team. They didn't even get a chance, dude. These guys all have a chance. What are you going to do with your opportunity? You might get a bad break here. You might get a bad break there. If we don't shoot well, done. If they don't shoot well, they're done. This is it. This is your last game. If this team is going to click, it better be this game. Because there's nothing after tomorrow, after Friday, if you don't click.
No, I know Team Mac was asking for some positives.
No, I'm just being real. I'm just being real. I think we can beat them. I think we're going to have a good game against them. I think we're going to beat them. You know what I mean? And then, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm on a little tangent, but that drove me nuts about the whole seeding. Dude, you're in, bro. That's 19% of the teams in the country. I know Fiend doesn't like it. He likes to reseed. Oh, this is this. I want my seed. I want Utah State at 11 seed, which I agree with. I think that was a great pick, by the way. So, but I don't know. That's just my philosophy on it.
I love to hate on Utah State. I just love it. But no, some of the positives, with this team, the resiliency. I think we can't talk enough about that. Like, even if we're down big, even if we're down double digits, this team is not going to fold. Like, the other team may think that they have delivered their haymaker and we're down for the count. That ain't the case. I always feel like when we're down that we're going to make a run and we're going to come back. Like, I never feel like we're out of a game. And that's important to have, because teams can lose faith and lose that, that belief that they can, that they can make a comeback. And in these, you see in the NCAAs, these teams make big runs, and to be able to withstand that and maintain your composure for the entire 40 minutes. That's very valuable. And that's what I've seen from this team this year. And if we get down by double digits to UAB, I'm not going to be freaking out, because we've been there before. Also, our defense keeps us in games. So even when we're not shooting well, our defense will keep us in games. Not every team can say that, other teams need to hit a higher clip at threes and, have a better effective field goal percentage. But we've shown that we can, shoot 28% from three and still win a game because we're limiting the other team to 22%. That's what we did throughout the tournament all last season because the defense was so amazing. So those are some of the, the positives. And then, hey, we have an All-American. Not every team in this tournament is going to have an All-American on their team. Jaden Ledee has been carrying us, and I continue to expect him to, find ways to carry us in this tournament. And so we'll just see game by game how this goes, And I got to put my trust and faith in Dutch and hope that, he pushes all the right buttons for this team.
Saw that comment in there that if we fall behind in the tournament, we got no chance, and I couldn't disagree any more. I mean, this team has shown just in these 3 tournament games that they have that ability to do. I know the tournament is different. I know it is, but
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What is one stat you'll be looking for against the game against UAB?
What stat am I?
One stat. So here's the stat I'm looking at. This is a loaded question. Offensive rebounds. We beat UNLV and Utah State. We beat them in offensive rebounds. New Mexico beat us in offensive rebounds. That's a stat. That's what I'm going to take a look at. So what, if you were to pick another one, what would you look at if or is offensive rebounds high? Obviously that's high on your list too.
No, I always look at the one that I look at that I think is a big indicator for us is how, and I've said this before, how well we shoot the three, what's our 3-point shooting percentage, and what is the opponent's 3-point shooting percentage. And are we in the positive in that? If we're negative, like we were against New Mexico, we lose. If we're positive in that, I think like we were against Utah State, Maybe I don't have the stats up for UNLV, but that tends to be the trend for us. Is that when we're not defending the three well, then we lose games.
Right. Okay. I was curious. I think both those stats are pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those are gonna
Absolutely. I mean,
determine the game,
rebounding
you know what I
too.
mean?
Yeah, because if you're giving up second chance points, I mean, then it doesn't matter what your 3-point shooting
Right.
defense is, because you're just giving more opportunities.
That's a tricky thing as far as rebounding goes, right? Because I mean, in conference it's a little different, right? Especially last game in New Mexico. I mean, the guard play is there, but I don't know about this UAB team, man. If we're gonna have trouble now, Auburn. Do we want to talk a little bit about Auburn, or should we wait? We probably should wait a little bit on Auburn because I want to see them actually play a game, and they got to win. So sorry to disappoint our Auburn Tiger from Alabama. That may not be the wisest thing to do. It might be calling in some bad juju if we go ahead and give a little bit on Auburn. We need to take it one game at a time.
We thought we were going to be playing Virginia last year, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
Furman knocked
yeah.
them off, so they were the
Yeah.
4th seed. So who knows? Yale could show up and knock off Auburn just as easily as UAB could knock off us. So that's the madness of this tournament. So yeah, we'll take it one game at a time, and maybe revisit this later on in the week.
Thank you, Quinn. Our Auburn fan says, I think y'all will beat UAB. And I hope so, because I think that will be a fun matchup. I'm not going to talk about Auburn and how we think we're going to play against it, but it would absolutely be a fun matchup. I think all Aztec Nation wants to see Chad Baker Mazzara. I would have preferred maybe later on in the bracket, but let's see.
Did you see, by the way, someone tweeted, about Chad Baker Mazzara, about Dutch, pulling him in the Creighton game in the second half. And, after he'd already scored 15 points, he was like, never forget. And then Chad Baker Mazzara replied, never forget. Yes. So there's some bad blood there. Between what happened in that Creighton game in the tournament a couple years ago, his last game as an Aztec. And so that would be interesting, to match up.
I mean, should we not forget the turnovers that he had in that game as well, and the missed defensive assignments? I mean, he was single-handedly he was scoring the bucket and then giving them the ball back.
That's why he got pulled. Is because he missed the backdoor. Guys were just backdooring him and getting easy
couple
buckets.
times.
So, yeah,
and that's the ethos of this team. You got to play defense, or you're not going to get on the court. So
Mhm.
it's all love. It's all love. No disrespect, but you don't want us to forget that. Well, got to remember it all. Got to remember it all.
Yep.
Oh boy. All right, let's get into the chat, guys. Let's have a little fun with all your guys' comments. We really, really appreciate it. Angelica, thank you for the compliment, saying that we have, between the games and our podcast, encouraged her and the enthusiasm to be a committed season ticket holder for next season. Salud. Absolutely. Thank you. That's what we want. Oh, Flavor Guy. Aztec Flavor Guy was at the tournament with us for one of the games. Yeah. Happy. At least two of the two least favorite teams. But Utah State, a 4 or 5, and New Mexico is a 5 or 6. Now we're talking about the big tournament now. He says Utah State is a 4 or 5 seed, and New Mexico is a 5 or 6. Guys, what I see you shaking your head, Fiend. What do you feel about that? Because the Mountain West, everybody's saying the Mountain West got snubbed. Everybody's saying the Mountain West got snubbed. I don't believe that, though. I don't think the Mountain West got snubbed. I know all season long we love to look at the net rankings and the analytics and all the rankings, all the stuff, all the fodder that people love to just talk about. I think the Mountain West is exactly where it should be. I mean, it was a competitive league all over the place. San Diego State is the only program to have won a tournament game in the last, over a decade now. So, I mean, for all of these 6 teams, all the other 5 teams besides us to be complaining about their seeds, I know we dabbled into that a little bit. But do you actually think they got snubbed, Fiend?
Utah State? No, I think they probably maybe should have been a seed line down, 1 or 2. Yeah, I mean, because I know they won the Mountain West, okay, but they didn't play anyone out of conference, really. They didn't have any quality wins, right? And then I feel like New Mexico, like the way that they're playing, the way they closed out with, the conference championship, I feel like they're playing like a 6 seed. They could be a 6 seed. I don't know if they deserve that seed, but I think they're playing at that level. And then for the others, I mean, Boise State being first 4 out or first 4 in, Colorado State being first 4, that's ridiculous. I mean, none of the Mountain West teams should have been first 4 in. I mean, I think that's just crazy. I mean, like, did you see the reaction from Boise State when they saw that they were picked? I mean, and like, they were shocked. They were in complete disbelief. It wasn't like a celebration when their name was called. It was like, how were we one of the last 4 in this tournament? Like we almost got left out. And so that was just ridiculous. And so I think those 2 teams have a real gripe. The other ones, I mean, whatever. I mean, but hey, I'm just glad that we got 6 in, and this will probably be the last year that we get 6 in because we're going to a full 20 game season next year.
I feel like the Mountain West may have gotten what they got because of New Mexico, in a sense. New Mexico was the 6th seed, and yes, we like to say it was a competitive league, but then when New Mexico comes in and just wipes the floor with everybody, except us, they didn't wipe the floor. But they put on the performance they did in the tournament. It kind of devalued everybody's season in a sense, because you had all these rankings, all this stuff. You got New Mexico who didn't play anybody in the out of conference schedule, and they come in and just tear everybody's conference tournament to shreds. So we all know it's not an exact science, the seedings and all that stuff. They take in the storylines into account and what's going to generate views and all that stuff, and the fact that nobody's won a game in the tournament. Nobody's done it in so long. So, I mean, those play-in games, I think it almost works to Boise's advantage. You may disagree, but like to those teams who got the play-in game, okay, well, it's sad you have to play one more game in the tournament, but it's like, if you are as good as you think you are or profess to be, you should be able to beat these teams that are in the play-in game because they are lesser. You should be able to win those games rather than, okay, we'll give you guys a decent seeding and against a quality team. I don't know. That's just another way of looking at it. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, I think the first 4, there's always seems to be a team that goes to Sweet 16. Every year there's one team that goes to Sweet 16. So hopefully it's one of our guys, right? And second, if you look at the initial, remember the top 16 teams, the top 4 seeds that came out?
Oh, I think we might have lost Mike. We might have lost him. He's a little froze. He's frozen. Got to let it go, Mike. Let it go. Just let it go. He's froze. Let's let him get back on. Let's let him get back on in just a minute. All right, Fiend. We'll give him a chance to get discombobulated on the computer and get back into the chat just a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Let's pick it up. Now I got to catch up with you guys on the chat because boy, everybody's talking about bid stealing, like St. John's. I heard Darren Smith on the radio this morning. He was pretty upset St. John's didn't make it. I mean, it's not an exact science, you know what I mean? At that point, I don't know. Were there any teams other than St. John's that kind of really got snubbed and didn't make it? I know Mike was looking forward to seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Is that what they called him? What happened to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Mike?
I'm back. Sorry, the SpaceX got me. Got my internet going. Sorry, but I don't. My bad. But yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him. I think that would be fun. I'll watch him in the NIT. But real quick, get back to my point. I think you saw how much weight they put to our non-conference schedule when they put us in that top 16 the initial bracket reveal. And they said, teams don't deviate that much. And we saw that even though we we went 6-4, we were still 5. So I think what they did is they gave a lot of weight to those teams' wins against us, Boise State, Colorado State, all those teams against us, and they gave us that weight. But yeah, no, we haven't won in the tournament except for us. So they're like, okay, you had a good season, but you let's see something. Let's see some sustainability and stuff. So hopefully we get some teams that win some games. Boise State, I don't believe has ever won an NCAA tournament game, or at least Leon Rice hasn't at Boise. So I think that's what it is, and they gave us a lot of respect for what we did and out of conference, and they should, and they put a lot of weight into that. So the seedings are the seedings. Like I said, you should probably edit that where I went on my rant earlier to this portion, but you just get in and play some basketball, man. Just play some ball and see what happens.
Ball out. Just ball out.
Ball till you fall, man. Perception versus perspective. You got to just take each game for what it is. And a lot, the other thing, man, like we get so into this. This is a lot of kids' last game of college. Only one team is going to win it all. So it's going to be it's the best time of year, man.
The finality of it is here. Art Vandelay, you fellas going to Spokane or any watch parties? I'm not going to Spokane. My cousin just moved there, but that's a tough trip to get to. And I kind of enjoy these first 2-round matchups, watching with friends here locally, kind of get the vibe of being somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where the Sons of Monty are going to be posted up. It's a morning game, so wherever I can get maybe some decent breakfast and a good screen. We'll see. I know Mike's not going to watch it. He can't watch it. He's on daddy duty.
I'm going to download the app. I'm going to try and watch it. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, like it's
DVR.
Hey, yeah, I don't. But it's I'm bummed. This is the first time I haven't got to watch it. But taking my little girl to Disneyland for the first time is pretty special, I think. So
DVR, make it live in the moment. It'll
be fun. But I'm sure I'll be able to catch it at some point at the land.
Okay.
Real quick, dude. Matt, we talked about this, and sorry, I wanted to interject this, dude. But we were talking about this, and we all know Lamont's defense and how elite that is. But I still think Darian Trammell is a excellent defender, an absolutely electric defender, and it's I don't think he gets recognized as much for it because he's a great defender, but he has the best defender in the conference on his team too with him. You know what I mean? So like I just wanted to throw that out. I was watching this game, and as you watched, and he's just such a great defender, man. So I think hopefully if he can do some lockdown defense in the tournament, and you got Lamont doing what he does, that's going to be. I think that's going to be something we need to look at.
You brought that point up the other day, and I know you really meant it when you said it. I thought it was a great point because some people, rightfully or unrightfully so, have given him some flack, right? I mean, he is undersized in most cases in the Mountain West with some bigger guard play against him, and undoubtedly that's going to be generally the same case in the tournament unless a matchup is different to where he's guarding another guard around his size. But I mean, for what he's been able to do, interrupting the passing lanes, getting steals, and just being pesky, I think he's very underrated defensively. Sometimes he'll get a bad rap from fans, but it's like, okay, well, the matchup is what it is. You got to play those matchup games, those lineup games. And then for a game like what we saw on Saturday, which, New Mexico, they run a ton of pick and roll. Fiend, I know we kind of talked in the chat earlier today. Did you want to address some of that from the Illuminati, our chat friends in Illuminati, because they were asking about Darian and the defense in particular? I hate to go back to the New Mexico game, but that's the last game we played. So did you have any input that you wanted to kind of point out on that?
I mean, I'll just reiterate, I love DT, how he distributes the ball, how he comes up big with these clutch shots and big moments. He's stealing the ball, he's got quick hands. He is pesky, and, he really kind of disrupts the rhythm of guards. But I'm just not a big fan of like him playing with Lamont Butler in the same lineup, just because the two of them together, they're very similar, in what they do, and it's not like you have like a point guard and a shooting guard and then the height, like the height issue can be an issue when you're going up against taller guards. So I mean, I prefer to have a lineup that's staggered. I know we had that earlier in the year, and I thought that was really effective, where he was coming off the bench and they were kind of staggering their minutes. And I think having one of those guys on the floor at all times is crucial for us because our offense is so much better when we have them, a true floor general on the floor. But those guys, with DT, we're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss him. He hit some big shots, right? He came up big for us. We don't win that game against Alabama last year in the Sweet 16 without his performance. We're going home. We don't win if he doesn't hit that free throw. He get fouled free throw against Creighton. So I mean, he came up big. He's had some big moments as an Aztec, and he'll always be remembered and cherished, for that. I hope he has a big tournament because he is the type of guy that comes up big in big games. I mean, I think his stats, like in quad 1 games, are better than like the lower quad games, just because he's a primetime player, and so. I'm hoping that he has another run like that in the tournament to close out his college career. That would be an awesome way to go out.
I saw that in the chat. They were saying how big DT plays in those big games. We saw it. And let's be honest, if you don't play defense, you're not going to get that court time, as Coach Dutcher and the staff always remind us. And a lot of times you have to sacrifice your game to fit into this team. We talked about that a ton last year when you had so many talented and experienced veterans on last year's team. Everybody had to sacrifice something, a part of their game, to play together, to get those minutes and to play together the best that they could. And this year is no different. It's a different team, different characters, different roles. But no doubt, when they brought Darian in last year for his first year here, I mean, he was known as a big time scorer first. He was a bucket getter, and that's what he is. So to see him have to sacrifice a bit more of what I think he instinctively does, his assists have been fantastic these last second half of the season, like everybody's pointing out, and the defense has been there. So. Gotta give some love, gotta give some appreciation, put some respect on Darian's name. I mean, he's a big reason why we're in that Final Four, like you said, Fiend. Guys, anything else? Boy, we're over an hour here. We appreciate all you guys joining the stream. We really do. This is a big week, as we all know. It's a huge week. This is the finality of it all is real, and we want to keep dancing. You don't want to stop dancing when the music turns off. It all comes to an end. So I'm going to take this moment just to remind everybody about our shop. This is a good opportunity for you guys to go check out sonsofmontezuma.com. All of our non-NIL items. We have 10% off with promo code Monty, Monty. You can go get yourself some authentic gear. We got socks and all that good stuff. And then the NIL apparel that we do for a lot of the players like Mr. Reese Waters, Micah Parrish, of course. Well, Jaden Ledee, our MVP, hopefully the All-American, and Lamont Butler, all of our gear there. The lion's share of the proceeds go to all of our NIL team members. Don't forget it, and make sure you are socked up. So if you get a sock check, you will be able to show off those socks with pride. All right, guys, let's get back to it. We're winding down. It's about 9, coming up on 9:30 Pacific time. We appreciate you guys joining all over New Mexico, all over Alabama. Boy, we got 2 Alabama schools on the docket. Hopefully we can knock one out so we can knock the other one out. Last year, what was it? What state did we dominate last year? Who was that? Furman, and then before
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Oh, I love that part. I love that part of Idiocracy when they're when President President Camacho's out there with the machine gun, and everybody's like representing their state. It's an election year or whatever. They're like, South Carolina, stand up. You guys ever seen Idiocracy?
No.
You've never seen. Neither of you have seen Idiocracy.
No.
Is it a movie
Oh
or
my
show?
goodness, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Like Terry Crews is the president, you know, big old Terry Crews. He's got a machine gun. He's President Camacho. Like, it is one of the best movies. Dax Shepard is in it. Who else? Luke Wilson is the main character. Oh my god, cult movie.
I'll have to check
one
it
of the
out.
best. Yeah, it's a little prophetic. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy these days. It's an election year, guys. Oh, go watch Idiocracy. You won't regret it. Yes, prophetic. Okay, T-Mac, what are you saying? I watched the UNM game from what? How do you say that? Watape? Is that how you say it? Am I pronouncing that right? You know I'm a no sabo. Can't give me those words. Come on, I could not enjoy myself until the game was over. Fambone, thank you for backing me up. How have you not seen Idiocracy?
Hey man, I've never even seen The Wizard of Oz, so there you go. Hey, it's just too unrealistic to me, bro. By the way, hey, bummer of the news, but President Weber passed away today. Stephen L. Weber. He passed away. Yeah,
No.
You know,
Oh
hey,
man,
he was president when I was there, so that's unfortunate. But rest in peace, man. You know,
President Weber, man, he
changed
was
the whole trajectory of school.
I mean, yeah, he was the acting president, though he was the president when pretty much the Fisher years, the beginning of the Fisher years were really rolling, getting this thing turned around. Even the football program, right? I mean, those years with Brady Hoke turning the thing around and transferring over to Rocky, like those years, that stretch of just Aztec sports flipping the switch and getting in gear and becoming something that you could be proud about, like really proud about, like not just being an Aztec alum, but the community could really rally behind. President Weber was at the helm during that time and you know was instrumental, right? In kind of getting these things going. Wow.
Yeah. Bummer.
Sorry.
Guys, I'm gonna bring it down.
Yeah. No, that's real. Condolences to the Weber family for sure and Aztec Nation.
Yeah. You know, and you see stuff like that, and you know, it's gonna happen to everybody. It you know, it gets everybody, but everybody's day to day, and you just enjoy the games and enjoy your friends and family and stuff. Like I said, you know, I'm going to taking my little girl to Disneyland, and I don't get to see a basketball game. I don't get to see a basketball game. You know what I mean? So there's more to life than basketball, and we've seen it with, you know, the recruiting and the kids and all the stuff they've done and stuff. So just enjoy the games, hang out with your friends. Like we got to do in Vegas. I mean, I'll cherish those moments forever, man. I mean, those are great. The times we had, well, all of us together, including Andy, was awesome. Just sitting there watching the Boise, New Mexico game. We were just sitting there at Ellis Island, hanging out, eating wings.
Oh, we lost him again.
Oh boy. There, let's just all look at that wonderful face Mike Tortle out right now.
Friendly fire!
Oh boy, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot
Emotional damage.
I mean, he was in such a good, you know, spiel right now, really pouring out his heart, you know, talking about Aztec Andy and us hanging out, bonding in Las Vegas, watching the games on TV. Boy, he was going there, man.
Frozen like Han Solo.
Just look at that face. So earnest, that face. I mean, just so full of wonderful memories. He had enough right there. He had enough. I'm out of here. I think he had enough right there. No, that was great at Ellis Island, dude. I love Ellis Island. That was where me and Mike met, and it was it's I've never been the same. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if he joins us back, we'll see if he joins back. Woo, guys, how are we feeling, Fiend? I think that's the karma for all
yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up.
Said. That may be our cue, guys. That may be our cue. But we appreciate all you guys in the chat. We will be back doing some lives, hopefully the rest of this week. and hopefully get the Ejos back in here and give us their take from their perspective on the Mountain West tournament and beyond, and whatever's going to take place. If you guys don't know, that is our Spanish translation podcast, one of the first only Spanish translations. What's Larry Joe saying? What's up, Larry Joe? Mike just wanted to leave with throwing it in our face that he had delicious chicken wings. He just wanted to go out. He wanted to go out, leaving us speechless. Oh Lord.
He did.
Oh boy. Yes, get the Ejos back. The Ejos got to get them back together. Well, Fiend, I'm feeling good. It's always good to get that Selection Sunday in here quick because it lets you forget about that Lobo loss to the Lobos. Have a good night on Helica. We see you. And I'm excited. Tournament game coming up this Friday. We'll stay tuned to all of our socials. We'll be putting out where a collection of us are going to be watching the games locally. We are not going up to Spokane. We'll be gathering somewhere. At least a few of us, right? And, got to do what you got to do to free yourself up for the game. So we'll see. Andy's not feeling good. He might not be feeling good all the way till Friday. We'll see. But anyways, Fiend, any parting shots before we head out? Unfortunately, Mike can't make it back.
I am just glad that we're dancing. I mean, there's a lot of teams in Division I right now whose seasons are over. We are still dancing. The music is still playing. And, let's make a deep run. Who knows? Just let's play our best basketball this season and see where this thing leads us. I would love to have another magical run to the Final Four and be meeting up with Aztec fans again, this time in Phoenix. So I want that experience back so bad that we had, and I want to relive that experience in Houston again. So that's what I look forward to, is to having those types of experiences again. We'll see.
Indeed. We might have to relive that experience this week just to relive it with some of you watchers. Let us know in the comments, even after we sign off, would you guys like us to relive that FAU game live on YouTube? I'd love to do that and just talk with some of you Aztecs fans about that incredibly special moment last year, because it's upon us now again. It's upon us now here, March Madness, the road to the Final Four. Fiend, thank you so much for giving me your time. Mike, we'll see you on the flip side. Everybody, go Aztecs. See y'all.
Go Aztecs.